Hurricane Laura, the most powerful storm to hit the United States for a very long time, claiming its first fatalities yesterday as it swept through Louisiana and Texas. Officials had warned that the hurricane threatened an unsurvivable storm surge on the Gulf Coast. So let's talk about what's actually been happening there with Lloyd Figgins. He's chairman of the Travel Risk and Incident Prevention Group. Good morning to you, Lloyd.
Good morning, Julia.
Good morning. Well, I don't think many people are planning to travel to Louisiana or Texas right now, even if you could get the flights. But we know this is early hurricane season for the United States. We've seen a lot of very powerful hurricanes in recent years. But this warning of an unsurvivable storm surge, have we seen that?
We haven't seen the storm surge they were predicting for Hurricane Laura, to be honest with you. It was expected to be a lot worse. And, of course, the thing is with storm surge is it's sort of like the poor cousin to the hurricane itself. The people tend to gear themselves up for these really strong winds, but the storm surge is actually the thing that actually takes a lot more lives. We saw it with Katrina and we've seen it with other hurricanes where you get this wall of water that travels miles and miles inland and pretty much takes anything in its path. The rates of drowning from storm surge are astronomical, so it's thankful that we didn't see it with Hurricane Laura.
Well, indeed, at least 6 people we know have died as it's battered Louisiana. 150-mile-per-hour winds causing severe damage, 500,000 homes having their power cut, and a chemical fire from an industrial plant, just to add into the general horror. I mean, this is the state's biggest hurricane, but it's set to track further east and hit an awful lot of other states in the coming hours and days.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it has lost power since it's made landfall. That's pretty standard for hurricanes. But let's not just look at Laura. I mean, this area was actually hit by Rita a few years ago, and the residents there are actually saying this was worse. And as you're absolutely right, the hurricane season runs from June through to the end of November. And, we're kind of in the middle of that right now. And I think we're going to see a lot more storms coming, and that is going to, potentially cause a lot more damage in an area that's already suffering from things like COVID. So we saw the National Guard out on the streets in Louisiana, and so people aren't leaving their homes. And one of the reasons they're not leaving their homes is because they're trying to protect their businesses, which are on their knees already because of the COVID restrictions.
Yeah, and again, the trouble is, though, when there are also warnings of saying this is going to be the worst ever, and then it isn't, and we don't see quite the surges in the storms in the damage to homes that is predicted, that means that people are less likely to leave their homes next time. We have this again and again, haven't we? I mean, that's what happened with Hurricane Katrina. A lot of people just didn't leave them. They didn't believe it was going to be that bad because other warnings had not come true, and then you create a problem for the next storm.
Yeah, it's something the scientists actually call the cone of uncertainty. So they can track the hurricanes as best as their data will allow them to do. But at the end of every hurricane season, they look at what their predictions were and where the actual landfalls and storm surges occurred. And that is the cone of uncertainty. And that's what we see. And that's why these predictions can't always be right. But if the authorities are telling you need to move and you need to evacuate, you need to go inland, then you need to do it.
Absolutely. Thank you very much indeed for joining us this morning, Lloyd Figgins, chairman of the Travel Risk and Incident Prevention Group. I mean,